Would you believe that this is a great summary of the entire game?
Wait, what?
Now that's comedy.
Oh, Xenoblade X. That one expensive game I bought in 2017, but I probably should have just waited.
100,000?
Released on the Wii U, you know, when that was actually a thing, it got praises all around from the people who played it. All three of them. Now for me, technically, Xenoblade X was my first Xenoblade I knew about, except me back then never really paid much attention. However, after Xenoblade 2, I can honestly say, I love you, Monolith.
Oh, that's great.
Also, I do want to mention, if you were wondering why I was a bit more pessimistic on my Torna review, it can probably be explained because while I was writing that script, I was playing this game. Oh boy, was this the fresh air I needed in the series. Alrighty, let's start from the top. You get all these notifications and settings about the online and I'm like, wait a minute, the Wii U had online?
Indeed.
But I'll get to that later. The first cutscene starts up where it shows the Earth being bombarded by a war between two alien forces in the near future. Knowing the aliens were coming, somehow, the humans sent giant ships into space with survivors, but the only one that made it through was the white whale, and they fly safely as the Earth is destroyed. Ah, jeez, just getting straight to the point, eh? Everyone is gone.
Oh no.
Also, by the way, this is narrated by Morgana from Persona 5. I'll get into that soon enough, but the voice acting in this game was amazing.
Seriously?
The ship then spent 2 years adrift until, for whatever reason, the aliens came back again and attacked the ship, sending it crashing into a foreign planet, with the hull splitting off from the rest of the ship. And then we create our character.
Wait, what?
Well, yeah, that was news to me too. You don't get some British boy to control. No, you make your own.
That thing's green!
So I finally decided to create my channel mascot, Ramona. If you follow me on Twitter or Twitch, you would know who this is.
Oh yeah?
And I just want to point out, holy moly, the voice cast for this game is amazing. I can't believe I can make it sound like Chie, Velvet, or 2B. That's one thing you'll notice that's very different about this game from the other Xenoblades. The voice cast is actually well known, at least to me. But in those games, you don't really know any of the actors outside of that one game. I mean, Rex was a TV actor.
Oh, I adore army humour, especially from such a good-looking guy.
But yes, as for Ramona's voice, I had to go with my favorite voice actress, good old 2B.
You don't say.
So we awaken on a dark and stormy night to see the other best girl in the game, Elma. She's a high-ranking officer and finds us in this pod that launched from the hull of the ship and takes us back to the new base. This is where you get a first taste of the gameplay. It's a third-person adventure game that is incredibly open world. I'll get into that later, but for now, we beat up some small enemies. And I say that because we die to the big ones. Oh yeah, don't let the level fool you. This isn't like most JRPGs. The size difference is what you should be most interested in. And for now, we are no match for these things. So we make it back to the hull, which is now called New Los Angeles, because I guess the white whale launched from LA on the original Earth. And this is now the base for humans on this planet. We head in and meet up with two others, Irina and Yosuke.
Wait, what?
We then meet Morgana, I mean Lynn, who is an engineer and will be one of the main characters in our party alongside Elma.
She's 13.
I didn't say anything.
Apology accepted.
Lynn takes us on a transportation ship to our new home, saying how New LA is divided into 4 distinct sections: industrial for tech development, commercial for shops, housing for, well,
Housing, and more housing.
and the main area, the administration section. We then meet the head honcho, some guy, I forget his name, and he gives us the whole rundown since the crash seems to have conveniently given us amnesia.
Blade is an acronym. Builders of a legacy after the destruction of Earth. Quite fitting, I think.
No, it just sounds really forced.
Indeed.
So he tells us that they created Blade to quickly establish a provisional government on this foreign planet, and that their purpose is to search for the lifehold unit, a huge structure from the ship which has the rest of the civilians still in stasis.
Even the way that they walk is so cool. Oh yeah, work it, baby.
She's 13.
Actually, I don't normally show this to people, but I've been working on some Skell fanfiction. Hold on, I'll just pull it up here 1 sec.
This girl seriously is writing fanfic between two giant robots? Well, that's no different from real life, eh? So these are the Skells. Pretty much these giant mechs the humans control to help with the rebuilding of the new home.
Honey, we're home.
Well, friend, what do you say? Can we count on you to do your part? Ms. Cuckoo, how much do you know about life pods?
You mean like from the white whale?
Like the one Elma, a blade, rescued our friend here from. Emphasis on the word rescued. Because if you aren't released, you just sit there frozen in stasis. Forever.
So did you have an engineering question about life pods? Or is this all part of the guilt trip?
I'm sure I have no idea what you're talking about. Now, what'll it be, friend? Now, you wouldn't want to refuse the people who saved your life, would you, friend? You said no, you wouldn't refuse. That's a yes, right?
So yeah, the game does have voiced dialogue if you say no, but the point is, after showing us around, we decide to join Blade to rebuild humanity. And the first job we get is to stick some poles in the ground.
Seriously?
So these are data probes, and pretty much the towers in Assassin's Creed or IE, you visit these to unlock the area of the map. Oh, and by the way, the map! Yeah, it's horrible on screen, but did you forget? It's on the Wii U! You know, with the second screen that I still don't know how to record footage from. So pretty much the second screen is just you looking where to go, or to fast travel between these points. Anyway, with the first mission, you finally get to experience the wonder and horror of not being the dominant species. Because, oh my goodness, what the heck is that?
That's Senicula.
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 Right.
Huh?
So at the first frontier nav point, we have to kill this giant bug thing. And here is around the time I really started to fall in love with the game. I know I said this before, but in my Xenoblade 2 reviews, I mentioned how I loved absolutely any media where it just shows how small humans are. Like there is proof that there is something bigger out there. And well, what better than a game that has the Earth destroyed and you're fighting for your life against hostiles on a planet you don't understand.
Indeed.
Anyway, we defeated and set up the first FN point. Now these also come very handy later on, and I did realize that too late, because to get money to buy things and such, you have to make sure you change the FN probes to different ones like research, mining, etc. Like there actually is a lot of thinking going into this to maximize your efficiency gathering materials. And let's just say, I did not do that. So we go back and meet Commander Van Dam. Huh, no, that name doesn't ring a bell.
Indeed.
He comes in to give a huge speech on which division in Blade we should join, with each helping to do some specialized skill in the world. But honestly, I didn't see any notable difference in what you pick. I guess it could be from the online, but like playing this in 2019 is a weird experience.
Let's start with your...
In fact, let's expand on that. So this game has online, but like, do people still play the Wii U online? I find that surprising, but yep, here are plenty of people who apparently do. For what it's worth, and I'm sure someone in the comments can correct me, but I believe that these are just AI characters with names of other players, not actually them. Like in my 60 hours in the game, I had one interaction with someone online, and then I accidentally said no to their request because it happened near the end and I was so confused as what to do. Also, my Wii U keeps disconnecting, which is why randomly you will see in this footage, I'm either put in a squad online, or just offline. Anyway, Van Dam gives us our next mission, where a team using a Skell are reported to have broken down somewhere in the southeast, and us three should go and investigate. Wait a minute, you remind me of that gorilla from Xenoblade 2. It's time for some payback. The group then finds traces of the team, but gets interrupted by these weird-looking aliens who know who we are and are trying to kill us. That's strange. I thought this place was just full of animals. Anyway, we go further in and find that these creatures have a base. Upon entering, see that the leader has now exterminated the team we were looking for. He then addresses us, saying how humans are intruders and must be eliminated. Elma tries to reason with the prone, but fails, and we must defeat him. It's just kinda strange that out here in the wilderness we suddenly find an alien race hell-bent on destroying us. So then as we leave...
What should we do?
Stay back, Lynn. What do you think, Rook?
So dark. Tatsu can't breathe.
Ho-ho! Tatsu finally free!
Interesting. One of the vegetables is sentient.
Talking potato. I wonder if it tastes different too.
Yeah, this is Tatsu, and I'll get into his character flaw later, and no, not because he's a Nopon, but he reveals that he's part of an endangered species here, and that the prone were only recent invaders, around the time we came.
Presenting Follow Ball!
Really? Follow Ball? That's the best name you could come up with for your super special thing?
Meh, meh, meh! What would friend prefer? Fancy name no one understands so friend can feel smart?
Well, now I know why they call themselves Blade. Okay, look at him dance. So he gives us the follow ball, which is just a thing to reveal where to go, and I kinda just forgot about using this thing after a few hours. Yes, it's very helpful, but this game has too many features to remember what to do.
Agreed.
Just one last thing. What the bloody hell is this dancing turnip doing here?
He's actually a potato.
So, yeah, this is his biggest character trait flaw. Firstly, he does not help in battle at all.
Hold up.
Oh well, maybe he has some other purpose in the game. No, he's just comic relief. And that being food jokes. Yes, lots of them.
While I heat the oven, you spread the yogurt down your back too, okay?
Okay, but shouldn't Tatsu be cleaning off yogurt instead?
What? Don't be silly. We need it spread evenly for the tandoori sauce.
Tatsu is not laughing! Tatsu is not laughing!
So now at the start of each chapter, we get to pick what food Lin makes, and this always leads to some joke about eating Tatsu. Oh, it's funny the first time, but 6 goes in. I want to also mention here a bit the good and bad about the music in this game, as you'll see from the voice lines. The good is that it's a well-known anime composer, so if you're a fan of his anime music, you will absolutely love the soundtrack here. Maybe not the song title names, however. But it is my belief, because of his renowned status, he maybe cost a bit too much for hiring for old small-time Monolith, and I think they paid him less in exchange for his music to be absolutely blasted at every single scene. There is no reason for it to be this loud. You can't increase or decrease the music, and this happens in so many cutscenes where you literally can't hear the characters. And I would be so lost if not for the subtitles. Anyway, I guess now, since we get more freedom, I should talk about what you use the money for. And mostly, it's equipment. So you got a gun and a melee weapon, then you get armor for each part of the body. And yes, it does change your appearance. So if you're wondering what's up with my fashion sense, I picked it up because it has higher stats. I'm sorry if that's the only good thing Lin can wear in the game.
She's 13.
Later on though, I did realize you can do this thing called fashion armor, which means you get to keep any armor you want on, you know, so not skimpy things, but you can still then equip the stronger, weird looking armor that will make people question you. So yes, Lin does get better clothing later in the footage. It's actually kind of a neat feature though. In one where I wish more games like say Dragon Quest XI had, because some outfits there you wanted to use throughout the whole game, but then they're actually horrible stat-wise near the finale.
Well, I'm game.
Also, another thing I want to mention is the side quests. As I know what you're thinking, gee, these sure are optional. And I would then laugh at you because these are the people who made the Torna side quests.
That's not funny.
Oh no, not to say that they are bad, but over the course of the game, they really did start to grate on me. And that's the fact that to start a main mission, you need to complete some side quest requirement first. Like with Torna, the quests themselves can be fine, but when I'm forced to do them in a certain order, I kinda lose a bit of interest in them. Though they did help me keep my level close enough to the bosses, as oh lordy, this game has some really huge difficulty spikes. I'll get into that later, but just know you will be grinding and grinding in this game, which is then a good place to bring up the gameplay. Now I know at least what to expect from a Xenoblade game, and that is, I'll be doing as little as possible in the combat.
Wait, what?
By which I mean, the combat in these games are usually hands-off, using auto-attack to do most of the combat. But to be fair, X is at least way more hands-on than 2, at least for me. So the battle begins by targeting an enemy, then either whacking or shooting it, and your character will keep whacking or shooting it until you press X to swap to the other style. Now with the auto-attack, you can also build up this bar over here, and when at 3000, you can do an overdrive attack, which is pretty much Super Saiyan mode, allowing for faster combos with more benefits. Then over time, you build up these skill abilities to use on a cooldown timer, and they all have varying effects. The main use for them though, is that your allies will yell out these attacks, and if you respond with the same color when it flashes orange, you both slightly heal, and the attack does a bit more damage. Now this honestly the majority of what the gameplay is. You attack, building up the bar to overdrive, while listening to your allies to keep healing everyone. So then with the enemies, since they are huge creatures, you actually can lock onto a specific body part, and when destroyed, it topples the enemy, allowing you to do more damage. But yeah, I do know there is so much more strategy to the combat. For example, you can even change your class and weapons, change what the teammate is saying, even give them commands in battle, and honestly can be a bit much for some. Just focus on building the bar and keeping an ability free to heal everyone. Also, amusingly, I never knew you could actually control your teammates till like 12 hours in, when my whole team died and I was cowering in the corner, and I'm like, oh wait, what does this do? I'm just saying there are so many options in battle and so little explanations in game, and I know I did have that problem in the second one. Now even though this is a lot to take in, I really enjoyed it, probably more than 2. It's one of the few games that I actually did enjoy grinding on, with the other being Tales of Berseria, which kinda has a lot of similarities with the customization. But at times, a lot of enemies you come across are so over-leveled, and even then you fight a monster that you can then beat, but some giant is then like, "Oi, don't mind me, I'm just stomping on through," and interrupts the fight to just one-shot you. I guess it makes the game way more realistic, since you are small creatures struggling to survive, as you can then see me running away from a lot of enemies, using the environment to sneak away. Kinda reminds you of traveling in the Elder Scrolls games. But with the gameplay, I want to point out, doesn't this feel like an MMO?
What?
No, I'm serious. You have the open world, created character, online squads, the fan servicey armor, the team battles on monsters, to the cooldown on attacks. This really does feel like a Wii U MMO, and I love it. The fact that this can be played offline really made me enjoy my time with this, and you shall then see with how nuts the story can get later on.
Don't worry, I'll protect you.
Hey, look who it is.
Oh, looks like the game has Matt Mercer. Well, into the party you go.
That is unfair.
So Van Dam tells us that they might have found the lifehold unit in Noctilum, a deep jungle area that is easily the scariest place for me. No joke, trying to set up fast travel points here was a nightmare since everything is so over-leveled. Like, this is not a tactic, you actually have to run and hide from monsters and not engage if you want to not die while scouting. Just like real humans in this situation would, I guess. I mean, there was even at one point I had to make my way north, so I thought the safest way was to just swim around the whole dang island. This big brain play took me an hour to do, and there was still no spot to re-enter the island from the sea.
Wait, What?
Anyway, we, Elma, Lynn, Potato, and Lau head off to the spot when we get interrupted by this blue dude called L. He tells us the lifehold is further up and doesn't seem hostile. He just wants our sweet, sweet knowledge.
Ass caves, ass tax.
So after some dinosaur hunting, we arrive and find the prone are already attacking the ship parts. Our team tries to stop them but are too late. The prone then call in their commander. Wait, I'm still playing a Nintendo game, right?
But
She says she is part of the Ganglion army, which the prone work for, and their duty is to wipe out humans. A bit oddly specific, but okay. We fight Gluteus Maximus Squidward, and before we can kill her, she flees in another mech. We then bring Elle back home to aid us and tell Blade of the Ganglion. Anyway, after this, I actually finally realized, like 6 hours in, you can actually visit the other districts in the base. This will be a running theme in my playthrough. Realizing simple things so late in the game. But yeah, it was really fun running around here like 2B with less gravity. But seems like the cars don't want to play nice. And for the most part, you will want to explore here, and the game does force you to do all the side quests and things like that. Now since we got Elle, I gotta mention that the main party members are Elma, us, and Lynn. But you can actually replace them for most non-story missions like Lau, Elle, Irina, Yosuke,
Wait, what?
or even other online players. But with the AI teammates, you can also customize their outfits, and I'm just saying that because when you dismiss them, they still wear it in every single cutscene. This is seriously getting close to Berseria levels of fun with the customization. Blade then detects a spaceship crashing to the east in Oblivia, a desert-like area. Making our way to the crash site, we find these things called Manon, who Tatsu says arrived only a year before us on the planet. So we go and talk to them. Just remove my ears, please.
that is a great idea.
So these friendly people won't hurt us, apart from our ears, but are afraid of the Ganglion, and will only trust us if we destroy some Ganglion machines. Now I won't go into too much detail of how under-leveled I was here, but a cool feature I found was that if you die and had leveled up during the battle, you keep that level. This in addition to the many times you speed run in and you somehow get stuck in a fight, the respawn area is further ahead than where you started. Trust me, I needed all this cheese when dealing with things like this.
Melee attacks.
BS.
Copy that.
Now this next part can be considered kinda a spoiler, but when you look at it in the end, it's not really, so just a little caution here. Don't worry, I'll still give a big proper warning before the final boss. So we go back to the Manon and find them under attack by the Ganglion. Rushing in, we save them, and then Tatsu, you know, the character who is very valuable, starts dancing, which causes the last Skell to fire a shot at him. Ramona bravely pushes him out of the way, but our arm is completely blown off. And this reveals the biggest and popular shock in fiction: we ain't human. Elma is like, wait, why are you shocked? We all aren't human. Oh, right, the amnesia. Well, don't worry. We'll explain everything to you and to the fourth wall viewer back there when we get back to base. And so begins the Mimiosomes, or i.e. human clones. So the lifehold unit is actually the home for everyone's real human bodies. And the countdown in NLA is the time we have left before its backup power will die, killing us all. The biggest thing to take away from this is that it means a lot of these characters don't fear death that much, since it's really not them. And the most important thing is to get to the lifehold as soon as possible. Anyway, we introduce the high-pitched boys to our leader and take them in, docking their ship in ULA. The next chapter then shows Booty Squid reporting to a Ganglion boss, Luxar. And yes, this is definitely an evil boss ruler design. Our next mission is to then find a Ganglion Skell in this monster-guarded area. The enemies, however, won't attack if unprovoked, so this was kinda cool just wandering in. We find the mech which seems to run on dark matter, and call in our helicopters to take it back to the base. Tatsu, however, the ever-useful character, decides to eat, which draws in the beasts. And oh boy, this whole scene is truly where I felt like a helpless little human. We defeat it.
Somehow.
But it still keeps coming, until this giant death bird drops in and obliterates them. It acknowledges us but doesn't kill the group and flies off. Well, that was kinda nice of it.
Indeed.
So back at base, NLA is set about to study the mech, while Luxar Soup talks with another race who works for him. Think of their army as just made up of different races that they conquered over time.
It appears nothing is beneath me of late.
Oh, hey there, Sojiro. Irina's team then finds a part of the lifehold in Oblivia, and we go to help. Ramona and the others get there, and we almost open it, but all thick Squid Girl comes in to attack. And after another tough battle,
Seriously, it's so hard battling these mechs as a scrawny human.
we defeat her for good and return to NLA.
Dinner is on me this time.
Okay, this is weird.
Very weird.
Tatsu is suspicious.
Holy moly, I love my sassy OC.
You're not half bad.
Now, one thing I'll give credit to Xenoblade 2 over this one is that with the camera work during cutscenes, as at many times it's a free spinning one, which goes around our OC with the control stick. However, the cutscenes can go on for ages, and it can get very boring just staring at our backsides. Well, I mean, actually. But yeah, the other games at least made it feel more dynamic with the shifting camera, but here it's like just hurry up. But I guess randomly, we now can get a Skell license. Yep, we can ride them in the open world. Oh my goodness, this is so fun!
This is true.
So yeah, after doing a lengthy side quest, you get a really basic cheap mech. Now for the time being, this is fine, but the thing with Skells is that they don't level up, and this one is level 25. You can buy level 30 mechs, and here is where you start to notice, oh lordy are we poor.
Oh, come on.
So yes, if you were efficiently using the FN sites beforehand like I mentioned, this wouldn't be a problem. But for me, well, you know.
Very expensive.
Anyway, so with the mech, you can run around everywhere on the overworld and fight any monster. Your special attacks depend on what weapon you equip, so if you're rich, you get better weapons. The Skell also has its own overdrive feature, plus this lock ability, which can trap enemies from doing things while your teammates do the damage, like they are puny humans. Don't worry, when you have more money, you can buy as many mechs as you want. But that's still a ways to go.
Copy that.
Also, two things with the Skells. Firstly, yes, they need fuel, and it can get quite expensive, so don't like ride in them if you don't need to, or you can abuse a tactic I found online.
Wait, what?
Secondly, is that if your Skell is destroyed, well, make sure you press B at the right time, as then your insurance will pay for a new one. Otherwise, you have to pay for it all again, and this is seriously the worst thing ever. It becomes a bigger problem when your party gets their own mechs, and it's kinda hard to always keep a track of them. Alrighty, anyway, new mission. Same old Tatsu food joke. Oh, that's new. So it seems like the Ganglion are on the offensive as they are approaching our city. Command tells our team to defend the east gate, Irina on the west one, and Lao to guard the alien mech that we captured. We then do some enemy wave battles, and I was kinda proud here that I beat an enemy all by myself as my team just gave up. But we then get called back into the city as the Ganglion launched a huge dropship to land all these mechs in our home. Lao then tells his squad to go out there and protect the city, as there's no point guarding the mech if we get overrun. So we try and save the city when we meet these two, a huge guy and an evil girl. Huh, no wonder Xenoblade 2 has a thing for waifus.
Bingo.
We defeat them and they flee, while we get a call back from Irina that Sojiro and his cat girl managed to sneak in and steal the Ganglion mech back. Anyway, we get back to the hangar.
The bigger question is how they even knew we had it, and how did they know exactly where we were keeping it? No way.
Okay, yep, that's it. Irina, get out of those clothes, put some actual armor on. You're on the starting lineup. Lao, you traitor, I'm benching you. No point of wasting levels on you, yep.
Bingo.
So our Short Shorts gang meets up with the president, while at the same time, the cat people bring the mech back to Luxor, who is very happy. Then our next mission is in Sylvalum, which is north of here, and Blade believes this might be home to the Ganglion army. Also, it's really cold. Perfect clothing then.
But
Upon entering the main area, we see Lao collapsed and force him to rest while we go further in to confront the Ganglion he said that did this to him. However, we can't seem to detect anyone until a big ambush by the cat people in their mechs. We ask them why they are aiding Luxor, and he says it's because Luxor is holding his cat people as soldiers for his army. He then also reveals the Ganglion's true goal is to destroy our real human bodies and not the clones. However, he can see that we might be good guys and agrees to a truce if we can beat him in a battle. Except we can't.
What?
This would be the first big, huge difficulty spike in the game. You have to defeat 5 enemies at once, then a mech battle. Now remember, I only had one mech, and a basic one at that. I mean, I tried so hard to win this, but it does seem like I do need to do some more grinding. And this is where the handy guides come in. Oh man, because there are so many tactics to level up, but my favorite one, and a lot of other people's, is this money farming guide in this cave. I'll leave a link in the description, but pretty much it's this place in Noctilum that has a ton of item pickups. Now in this game, if you max out picking up one of an item, the next item pickup instead gives you money. So you can see where I'm going with this. Also, make sure you just do one lap and reload to the fast travel point on the touchpad, as you want to not let the crabs spawn, as they will attack you in this mech. So yes, I spent hours doing this to finally get 2 more mechs, which then finally allows us to easily beat the cats, and they agree to a truce and reveal the Ganglion base is north of here. Also mate, you did lose to a waifu in jeans. We also hear Lao has been brought safely back to NLA for treatment. Sojiro Cat then tells Luxor Soup, jeez, what am I even reading, that their alliance is no more. However, remember that big guy and the evil girl? Well, she's really angry that she lost, and steals a mech from the Ganglion, well not really a mech, more like a giant behemoth warship, to crush us. Yay.
oh, come on.
So we head to Sylvalum to face her head on, and well, this was yet another difficulty spike against me, because my team just kept dying to the beast. So after some thinking and internet searching, I get enough money for stronger mechs and better weapons to finally take it down. During this time we also do a side quest where... oh.
You what?
Sorry Irina, back to the bench you go.
Oh my god, how adorable! I love cats.
We then get called to our Skell warehouse, where we find Lao, as he is stealing a data terminal with intel, and he reveals he's a spy. Oh gee, what a shock.
Jeez.
He then flees, while Command tells us that the data he stole is the key final component to finding the lifehold core. We go to confront him in the Ganglion base in Calderos. So after making our way down into the head base, we find Lao, who gives us the sob story of his family not getting chosen for the white whale, as only the rich get picked, which is why he joined the Ganglion to eliminate every human. A bit extreme, but okay. Luckily, we managed to somehow sneak our mechs in and easily beat him. Elma threatens to kill Lao for being the traitor, but Lynn is like, no, please, he's like a dad to me. Ramona joins in and Elma stands down. Lao realizes the error of his ways and gives the data back. He says to leave him alone while we report home. And so we reach the final chapter. Now I want to mention this big, fat warning to anyone before this chapter, because okay, so like with every mission you see there's a start at the start, there's this warning. Okay, once you start a mission you can't pick another one. Now I never really paid too much attention to this, but that was my downfall during this chapter, as you will see. So first we announce to the public the location of the core, and it's off the coast. Yep, the whole time it didn't even land on the islands. So every single blade heads out there, but see the Ganglion are already trying to break in, just barely failing with its last barrier. Luxor at the same time gets a report that we're all heading to the lifehold and decides to enter his mech to stop us.
Prepare the feature.
Also, by the way, here's the final save point before the boss, so skip here if you don't want the finale spoilers, you know the drill.
Pretty lady.
As we enter, Elmo randomly says that DNA for all Earth life is on the white whale, and another bombshell that in fact every single human body and animal was destroyed on Earth, but the capsules have all the consciousness of them and can be used to restore their original life forms. Kinda reminds me of that Futurama movie. Then, out of nowhere, the structure explodes as Luxar comes in with the Vita. It's kinda weird how I'm meeting the final boss like this when you know you never really met him till now. But okay, we battle him. And here is where my mistake bites me in my jean hide. So remember, all my mechs are level 30, this one is level 50, and for the life of me, I could not defeat him. I mean, firstly, when you die, you have to make sure you know you're going to die beforehand and eject from the mech. Otherwise, when you spawn, you lose any chance of getting it back since you can't leave. And this includes telling your teammates to eject from the mechs as well. So it pretty much meant I'm dying, get the Wii U long loading times when I reload the save, skip 2 cutscenes with the loading times, enter the lifehold, skip another cutscene, battle his first phase, another cutscene, then try and beat the harder second phase. Now you may be thinking, okay, when you're complaining, just grind a bit. Alright, fine, that works. But remember, the mechs don't level up themselves. I need level 50 mechs, which cost over 2 million credits for just one. Okay, so then my problem is money. I could just grind in the cave. But remember how long it took me to just get one level 31? Well, it would take even longer for a level 50 mech, and one at that. Alright, fine, I'll look up some guides then, maybe I'm missing something. And I did, I found something! A side quest that gives you mechs which you can then sell for profit. But here's the big problem. Since I started chapter 12, I can't do any, and I mean anything else till I beat it, i.e. beat the game. I'm effectively locked into this quest, and of course, only one save file in a Xenoblade game, so unless I grind for like 10 hours, I'm stuck. And I mean, honestly, I really tried my hardest in the battle, but to no avail. I guess this is where I tap out. Oh, but don't worry, I'll still be talking about the ending, just, using my art since apparently I'm an artist.
Jeez.
Anyway, during the boss battle, Luxar says humans are descended from Sumerians, and these people are the ones who created Ganglion as their servants. Now anticipating an uprising, they built a failsafe into them, and in turn their descendants, the humans. That would spell the end of the Ganglion race, but we then defeat him and his Vita sinks into the pool. Now with the job well done, Elma opens the console to demonstrate how the DNA thing, rebirth thing works. But oh no, Luxar ain't dead and attacks the computer, causing some mutated lizards to appear and attack us. We defeat them, and again, out of nowhere, Lao comes in and stabs Luxar with both falling into the pool. Lao realizes that failsafe was just human DNA, which is all around them in the pool, and this dissolves Luxar. You know, I was kinda hoping for something more cool than just human DNA being the reason Ganglions were angry at us. Lao tries to swim out, but the dying Luxar grabs onto him, fusing with him into this hideous beast. Lin tries to protect him again, but Elma's like, come on Lin, look at what he's doing. He's destroying our ticket out of these clones. And surprisingly, Lao agrees and that we should stop him. So the final fight, we defeat Lao Hybrid, who dissolves into the pool. Lin says the computer is fine to create life, and so we turn on the backup power. Elma then out of nowhere is like, oh by the way, I'm an alien.
Wait, what?
She apologizes for lying for like 60 hours of gameplay and reassures us that it's still her. The Blade HQ contacts and congratulates us on destroying the Ganglion threat, and we return home. The epilogue then talks more about Elma, who arrived to Earth in the late 2020s, and she gave humans info on how to build skells, clones, and spaceships. Lin somehow believes that Earth is still alive and that more ships might have escaped as well. Then after the credits, Elma returns into the core to get our consciousness out of there. But another shock, it's completely ruined. Most likely from the crash landing impact. This leaves Blade at odds with what to do now. Because, well, their consciousness from Earth is dead, and yet them as the clones are still alive and existing. Elma suggests that this planet might be doing some mystic mumbo jumbo, and we then see Lao on the beach while a shadow of a figure walks up to him, and he opens his eyes, cutting to a black screen screen with a text that the story never ends.
What the hell was that?
So, that was, interesting. That was some ending. So like, cliffhanger, maybe? Okay, so everyone is fine and alive, but,
I really don't know how to express my thoughts on that ending.
for a game that started out with such a strong premise, it kinda just fizzled out with weak characters and villains and a sequel bait. I mean, finding out Elma is an alien is cool, although I prefer her clone design way more. But that little sequel bait just seems really out of place. I mean, we barely know anything about Loxa as a villain, and yet there's still someone else, and Lao is yet again alive.
Oh yeah?
Oh yeah?
Wait, what?
Anyway, we bring the spoiler skippers back because honestly, if you have a Wii U there, you know, gathering dust, and if it's cheap, I 100% say you should buy this game. I mean, you get 60 hours worth of enjoyment from it easily, and that's not to mention the numerous things I skipped over. Like, did you know this has social links? Yeah, you can level up with a certain party members to know more about them. The game is just so massive, which I guess shows you with the loading times, but it's so surprising how they managed to fit this all on the Wii U. This game would then be even more amazing on the Switch. And maybe just rework the story a tad bit, and also some of the level grinding and mission structure. That being said, I still thoroughly enjoyed my time with this. I guess it helps that I'm suddenly on a really high kick of giant mechs recently, coupled with the amazing soundtrack, voice acting, expansive detailed worlds, the fact that you can make your own waifu or husbando, and the customization showing in the cutscene raises the game a lot in my eyes. It's just a shame the mid and late game story and difficulty dropped it down a peg or two. But with that, oh boy, I sure have spent a lot of time talking about Xenoblade on this channel. Maybe it's time for a long break. Who knows if I'll ever come back to the older Monolith games. 10,000 likes and I'll do Xenoblade 1, okay?
Trojan, RamZaes, Magnum, Sheik.